Hey, awesome. Yeah, I'm talking to you. I know you're ready to stop falling into diet culture traps and finally put together a realistic plan on how to boost your energy. You might feel stuck because you can't quite kick the chocolate habit. The whole body love thing isn't getting the job done. Or maybe you're at an impasse because you are pushing it in the gym, but you can't figure out how and what to eat. How many times have you Googled best diet and found that the latest trend has failed you? Hey girl, I'm Jess. Registered dietitian, wife, mama, and total science and nutrition research junkie. I too used to be stuck in the cycle of insecurity and never feeling like my body was good enough. Then I tried to fix it with food only to end up right back where I started. I did some really hard work. I found food freedom, but then I was confused on how to eat healthy and get fit without falling back into diet culture crazy. I wish someone would have taught me the difference between discipline and obsession. I wanted to be the healthiest version of myself by balancing healthy eating with food freedom. Like, how do I actually eat healthy, get fit, and have donuts with my kids? It wasn't until I figured out this awesome balance between discipline and permission, the art of intentional eating with sprinkles of flexibility. The empowered eating model was born. Here on the show, we nix diet culture while creating values-based health goals. We reconnect with how our body responds to food through biofeedback, all the while figuring out a plan on how to get healthy and fit without sacrificing the most meaningful parts of life. Sustainability doesn't mean never eating your favorite foods again. I mean, pizza is life, right? We are here to finally not just feel comfortable, but confident in our body. I am so excited to fuel your awesome with empowered eating. Head on over to jessbrownrd.com and grab my 3 Steps to Empowered Eating guide, totally free. Or hop onto my e-course, Food Foundations, to get the step-by-step deets on how I got here. All right, you ready to take your inner awesome to the next level? So grab that cup of coffee, lace up those running shoes, because girl, it's time to go. What's up, friends? I am so excited today. I have a super unique guest for you guys. She's a fellow registered dietitian, and she's got a really, really cool approach to helping people heal their relationship with food. Her name is Toni Marinucci. And before we dive into all that, Toni, I just want to say welcome to the show. Thanks so much for being here today.
Thanks so much for having me. It's an absolute pleasure.
Now, tell me a little bit about you and where you're from.
Yeah, so my name is Toni. I am a dietitian I live in New York. Right now I'm in Westchester. I grew up on Long Island, but I just moved to Lower Westchester. I didn't just move. I've been here for almost a decade, but I grew up on Long Island. I'm part of a Greek and Italian family, which I love very much. But as you know, with the Greek and Italian family, it's lots of food, lots of love, but I also got a lot of mixed messages because I was also very overweight and I was teased about it. And I was kind of finish your food, but then given the side eyes when you went for a second helping. It was very confusing.
Oh, yeah.
So long story short, I became a registered dietitian because I wanted to learn how to lose the weight, but in a sustainable way, because I tried to go about it in my own way. And I think like many people, you start off with the extreme restrictions, which led to binging, which led to over exercising, which is this vicious cycle. So I wanted to learn how to eat. So I became a registered dietitian. And now, me and my team are helping people help them to find balance in their eating habits and really break up with this idea of dieting and really helping them just to figure out what works best for them.
I love it. I love it. Now, you've had some really cool milestones in your career lately. You wrote a #1 best-selling book. Tell us about your book.
Yeah, so my book is called Once Upon a Diet, and it's actually an extension of my TEDx talk. So I know you wanted to talk about that today. So I can't even really talk about the book before I even talk about my talk, because the TEDx talk was something that was put on my heart maybe 4 or 5 years ago. And I knew I always wanted to do a TED talk. I had applied and I got denied actually from my alma mater, which was crazy. But anyways, it was a blessing in disguise, because originally I was going to kind of just talk generally about how it's important to really, formulate healthy habits instead of going on diets, really just living an active, healthy lifestyle, which I still preach that today, but it didn't have the topic worth talking about. It didn't have that standout thing. And so I had gone through a lot of transformation in my own life and my own journey, which led to the title Once Upon a Diet, which was, I had noticed that so many women, before they would join our program, I would kind of watch them jump from diet to diet, hoping each one was quote unquote the one. Mm-hmm. And I made the analogy that they went around like Cinderella stepsisters trying to jam their foot into something that clearly wasn't a good fit for them. And as I was frustrated by it, I started noticing, but okay, first of all, Toni, like you used to do that yourself. So, everyone needs to kind of come to their realization on their own. Like you're not excused from this. And two, like you did this, you're doing at that time, I was doing it. You're doing the same thing with dating. Like you go on all these, you're on all in these long-term relationships that just like aren't good fits. You're trying to make it work. You break up with them and then you never learn your lesson and you go back into this very similar relationship with just a different person. It was like the same story, same like person, but just a different name and a different face. Like it was just, I never learned my lesson. And so that's when I started to recognize the parallels between like dieting, dating, and romantic relationships. And when I decided to do the TED Talk, I only actually had, I don't know how long you had to speak, which I know you did a TEDx talk as well. I only had 8 minutes to talk, which was not a lot of time at all. I had to like introduce myself, establish credibility, like give my points across, right? So that's when the book was actually born, because I had realized like I can't fit everything that I want to say, because I had like one parallel in my head. But then as I started to explore it, there was like another one, and then another one, and then another one. And that's when I decided to write my book, Once Upon a Diet, just to help people really understand that we treat dieting the same way we treat dating. And we really need to stop doing that, because we live in a society that tells us that we'll be happy when we lose the weight, we'll be happy, when we find our partner, but they don't spend enough time talking about the quality of how you got there, the quality of the relationship, the quality of, it doesn't matter what the number on the scale says, because what matters most is how you feel. And so that's where the idea of the book was born. And now we are almost, I don't know when this is coming out, but I can't believe it's been out for almost a year already.
That's so cool. Congratulations on all accounts. And what I love is how it kind of like morphed the way it was supposed to, so that you could get like the full idea to come to head. That's so cool. Now your TED Talk, tell me a little bit about, first of all, like before we even talk about the topic, like what did you think about giving a TED Talk?
Oh my God. Well, I was so nervous. I put a lot of pressure on myself, like a lot of pressure on myself, because obviously, I don't know about you, but like my idea behind it was, one, of course, I had this message and I wanted to kind of, speak to it. But like my thought was like, well, I hope that it goes viral. like I'm not gonna lie, like that was literally my thinking. It didn't, by the way. So you learn like, you have to do things more than just for like, the views and whatever. Right. I was doing it. But I think because I put that pressure on myself, it was so much harder, because also too, I'm fine when it comes to public speaking. I've been podcasting for 4 years now. Like I, actually am more confident doing a video than I am writing a post, I thought the TED Talk was the hardest thing, but like writing the book was the hardest thing, by the way. But like, so I thought it was super hard, whatever. But I think that because I felt like I couldn't screw up. Like I only had one chance. Like I don't mind screwing up if right here on the podcast, I stumble my words a little bit. I say like too much, which I already know I do. That's not a big deal, but this was going to be recorded. This was going to be a one-time shot. It's live. Yeah. So, and then I really am used to just speaking from my heart and whatever comes out, but I couldn't just wing it. So I really had to have like more of kind of like a script, which was very new for me. But I also wanted to come off like genuine and authentic. So just the whole process was, fortunately I had a lot of support going into it. The people at I did mine at Lakeland University in Wisconsin. They were very helpful. I actually ended up hiring someone to help me to even just like get the idea formulated a little bit better, because I just felt like I wanted it to punch, because everyone, I think, not everyone, but a lot of people talk about nutrition, and a lot of people talk about, health and wellness.
Everyone. I would say everyone is applicable.
It's a lot. So it's like, I wanted something that was really going to stand out. And so I got the support. And I think that's like the biggest takeaway I always love to tell people. It's like, a lot of the things, if you see things that like Jessica and I are doing, we have support. We had support getting there. Like, I didn't get to do the TED Talk. I didn't get to write the book without hiring people or asking questions to the right people to help me feel a little bit more confident. And then also practice. Like practice.
Like crazy.
Like practice. I was speaking that talk in the shower, on my walks. Oh my God. Like Yeah, even the day of, I rented a car to take me from the hotel. I drove it myself. So I'm driving. I'm like, let me slow down a little bit. Like I have a little time to kill. Like let me pull over.
Okay, one more time.
Like one more time. I can do
yes.
this. You know, it takes practice, and it takes, you know, it's anything is scary when you've never done it before.
Well, I love that you say that there was support, because that was one thing. Like when I gave mine, I got a lot of feedback of, wow, you're an amazing public speaker. And I just kind of laughed because I was like, oh my gosh, you should have seen the first edit of this thing.
Oh my God.
Was so bad.
Yeah.
And
I mean,
this was practice. This was after, you know, a million rehearsals. And it was cool, I thought, to get that extra support. We had coaches that helped us. I don't know if that was a part of it, but there was like a program that they put us through. And they trained us to be a more professional public speaker, which I thought was invaluable.
That's awesome.
Yeah,
that's
really
awesome.
Cool.
That's great.
That's so cool. Okay, so you did the TED Talk, didn't go viral, but it sounds like in that disappointment, it still kind of shifted into this idea that was born. And you wrote this book, Once Upon a Diet. Tell me a little bit about this. I love it. It's such a unique perspective. It's cute. It's girly. I'm super girly, so I'm totally drawn to it. But you draw on the parallels between dieting, dating, and romantic relationships. So just tell me, like, overall, like, summary and synopsis of what your take with healing your relationship with food is. Use the Cinderella analogy, yes?
Yeah, so there's more than that. So basically, what I say in the talk, which I explain more in the book, it's like we need to stop being so much like Cinderella's stepsisters and more like Goldilocks. Like Goldilocks tried a bunch of different things, you know, things that, you know, it was too hot, it was too cold, then it was just right until she figured out what was perfect for her. And honestly, that's relative to the person. For some people, they really love hot oatmeal, and for other people, they like it at room temperature. Like, so she tested the waters and she figured out what worked best for her, right? Whereas Cinderella's stepsisters just so desperately just like wanted to be, you know, wanted the partner, to get married, you know, wanted the whatever it was, and they were just willing to, you know, do just about anything to get there. And they were just, it wasn't a good fit. So that's like the overall kind of view of it. Where I kind of draw the parallels even more, it's really helping people to kind of see, like, if you want something that's long-term and sustainable, you know, you have to really ask yourself the right questions. So I'm really helping people to be introspective, like before they do a diet or even go on a date. So I say this in the book, like, I am a nutrition expert. I'm not a dating expert. I'm speaking from experience when it comes to both the nutrition and the dating world, but when it comes to like giving the nutrition advice, that is my expertise. With that said, a lot of people have like really been able to kind of notice, like, wow, I've been settling in my relationship, or I've been ignoring the red flags, you know, just by reading the book. And it's really helping them to see, like, there are always going to be red flags, and it's up to you to be able to like recognize them and to know and to trust your worth, that you don't have to settle for that. You don't have to, you know, get caught up in the motions. Like, you get to choose and you get to create what that looks like for you. And so like I said, there's so many different parallels, but that's kind of where I kind of started to draw my initial inspiration from. And then the whole book was born.
I love it. So what are some of the red flags? Because I'm imagining like putting on shoes that don't fit. And that's what you're talking about with these red flags. So what are the shoes that don't fit?
Yeah, well, I mean, when it comes to like fad dieting specifically, I think the biggest thing we want to look at is like, is this long term? So if it requires you to eat out of Tupperware container and never leave your house, well, then that's probably not going to work for you in the long run. And one of the analogies I kind of share is like, there's nothing wrong with a short-term fling, but if you're hoping that short-term fling turns into marriage, well, then you're kidding yourself. And I did that for so long. And I talk about it in my book. I had this guy that it started out as that. It was just for fun. And then when, you know, we communicated, and it was very clear that like he didn't want anything serious. And at first, neither did I. But then my feelings changed. And instead of communicating that, I just kept hoping that he would just like, his feelings would turn around and then we'd somehow get married one day. And it's like, nope, he's never wanted that. He never will. He was very clear. Like, I just in my head was trying to create this fairy tale that was non-existent. Right. And so I think sometimes we lie to ourselves a little bit, and we tell us like, oh, I'm just going to do, you know, like this very like Whole30, for example. I'm just going to do it for the 30 days, just get the reset. And then I'm going to then I'll have this new plan. Well, it's like, if you're genuinely using it for the purpose of how it's supposed to be utilized, which is to really help you to explore maybe some intolerances or sensitivities. Do I agree that you need to go that extreme? Absolutely not. But if you are, then fine. And you're going to be done after the 30 days, then that's totally fine. There's nothing wrong with a short-term fling if it's going to teach you something. But if you're going to do it with the expectation that this is supposed to be long-term, well, you're going to be miserable, you're going to be disappointed, and you're making your life a whole lot harder than it needs to be, right? So some of those red flags are, things that eliminate whole food groups, things that require having like a protein bar or protein shake or anything required. Nothing should be required. It should be suggested, or you can choose to have a protein shake if you like it. You can have a protein bar if you like it, but it shouldn't be required. Very low calorie meal plans, specifically like 1,200 calories or less. Anyone other than a toddler that is, beneficial for. Things that encourage, I think, ignoring your hunger cues or meal skipping, potentially could be, red flags. What else? There's a list of, quote unquote, good or bad foods. That's probably a red flag. Anything there you feel like there's literally no wiggle room and there's just like a ton of rules, that's another red flag. So, it really, if it requires you to have foods that you're allergic to, big red flag, right? Like, those are just the start, but those are the few that I can rattle off the top of my head.
I love that. Well, what I really appreciate about what you said is like, there could be some benefit in a short-term fling if you're getting something out of it. Like if you're learning something, but as long as you keep your mindset very clear, like this is for a period of time, here's my goal. And then I'm going to go back to something more sustainable. Cause I think, and tell me what you think about this, Toni, but like the whole like diet culture, anti-diet culture stuff, like sometimes it gets it feels very polarizing.
Yes.
And like I've worked with some clients lately who are wanting to maybe try some of not even a fad diet, but just like even Whole30, right? Like if you look at it and some of the intentions behind it, like there's not all bad from it. There are some good things we can pull, but it's in the mindset. If you're trying to marry Whole30 or super low carb, like, yeah, you're setting yourself up for failure. So I really love how it balances like this ability to have a little bit of curiosity and permission. And at the end of the day, we can't like stick to it forever. It's not marriage material.
Exactly. 100%. And that's what dating is, right? Dating is getting to know what you like, what you don't like, so that you get clear on what it is that you're looking for in the future. Like, so what I talk about in my book too, is I never really learned how to date because number one, I grew up overweight and I was teased about my weight. So I was always the best friend, never the girlfriend, high school. That's always how it was for me. I went to college and I started getting a little bit more attention, whether was it because I started, working out more, changing my eating habit, not working out more. I always worked out, but like, just like changing my eating habits a little bit. I can tell you, was it because I was just outside of the bubble of where I grew up, where there was only one size that was considered, attractive. And now I was part of a bigger community of people that, appreciated different size bodies. That's probably more of what it was. But either way, now the first guy who gives me attention ends up my boyfriend. Because I never experienced that before. So I didn't really consider the source of the attention. I was just like, oh, you like me, so I like you. Oh, here we are getting married. And I was like, I spent 3 years in this relationship that I finally realized, wait a minute, I like you. You're great, but like, you're not for me. And I never questioned that because I never learned how to date, because that's just, this is the way in the world I kind of grew up. I never questioned it. So I think... Yeah.
So I just have to say, like, that right there, there's such a parallel too, because it's like, how many times do you see clients who try a diet and it works for a little bit, and then all of a sudden they're like, oh, this is how I have to eat for the rest of my life.
Right.
And you're like, wait, no, it's just like that moment in time. You're not the same as you were when you were 21.
Exactly. Yeah, they're 100%. And I can speak so much to that. There's the one side to that is like, yes, there's different stages. And so what worked for you then might not work for you now. And that's okay. Also, one thing I say in my book, just because it works doesn't mean it's working. Like you can like it. Like it can be good. But like, it also could be better, and it's okay to kind of swap out that good for great. It's okay to understand, whether it be this partner or the thing that I'm trying out, it's fine. It's fine, but it's not really, giving me like quality, like enjoyment, fulfillment, it's kind of like,
I love that.
Eating food that, it's nutritious and it's balanced and it's fine. Like you can like live your life eating this way, but like maybe you every once in a while want to be able to enjoy something that's flavorful and delicious, and knowing that actually to live a healthy lifestyle, you don't have to give up those delicious foods. There is a way to kind of find to balance it out. So yeah, it's important.
I love that. Just because it works doesn't mean it's working. Do you have an example of a client who recently discovered that?
Yeah. Oh God, there's so many. I mean, I guess like I think when it comes to like exercise, I think a lot of people, maybe find a exercise routine that, it gives them the results that they're looking for, but they don't hate it, but they also don't like, it doesn't light them up. And I think that it's that you can find ways to you can love movement. You don't have to just settle for a type of movement that maybe for so long, maybe you used to get super excited. You really loved, I don't know, I don't want to put like, maybe you loved the CrossFit community, right? And at first it was like, you really liked it. Now it's like, it's giving you the results, but it doesn't excite you anymore. And like it's working, but you miss looking forward to working out like you used to. You don't have to stick to it. You can break up with that and you can go to give something else a try. You can try yoga, you can try dance, you can try, another sort of like, maybe like strength training workout or whatever it is. So it's just, that's an example too. Like I think a lot of people, like you said before, they find what quote unquote worked for them, and they get so hooked on it that they're kind of afraid that they don't know how to kind of do anything outside of that. And I think that if the real lesson here is that we have to break up with the all or nothing mentality, and just to know that like you can there's many ways to be successful. There's never just one way to be successful. And if that's what you think and that's what you're told, you really need to challenge that, because that therefore is not truly a lifestyle change, because a lifestyle is flexible and fluid. But if it's anything that's like it has to look like this in order to work, it's probably actually not going to work in the long run.
I love that. Yeah, it's like getting away from that all or nothing mentality allows you to kind of dream bigger and think, okay, life is good, but could it be better? And you invite people into that space. That's really cool. Okay, so I want to shift over to this question that I've been dying to ask you. How do we find out which Disney princess we eat like?
Oh, yeah. So I created this quiz just as a fun thing to just get people to start to kind of think about the ways in which they eat and how we can start to utilize maybe some of our characteristics for good, or rather than like maybe like being trapped by them. So what I did is I created this Disney princess quiz, which you can find on my website, tipswithtoni.com. And I basically have you go through, it's like a 10-question quiz, and it really just helps you to figure out which Disney princess you eat like. Now, I created that based on like what I know the Disney princesses, like their characteristics are. So like, for example, you can get Cinderella, who's known for being hopeful, which, being hopeful is a beautiful characteristic. But if you are like too hopeful and now settling for like really crappy circumstances, like she did for so long, like it's to say like the fairy godmother, like isn't really coming for you like it did for Cinderella.
There is no
like
diet fairy godmother.
Yeah, you're going to have to like do something to kind of shift so you can like stop settling for those circumstances. So it's learning how to be hopeful in like kind of a positive way. Then we have Snow White, who's known for her kindness, which is kind of like that people pleaser vibe. So if you're, you feel like you're clear on what you want to do, what works for you, but then when you're around others, you're easily kind of tempted or misguided, or you feel judged, you might resonate a lot with Snow White. Then we have Jasmine, who is actually, I feel like is an actual rock star the whole entire time in the entire movie. She never actually ends up like following her father's footsteps and marrying the person that she was supposed to marry. Like she married the person for love. Like she decided that she wasn't going to kind of follow the regular rules. And I think with that, I think that's a beautiful thing. But if I kind of put it in the way of, if you were to not do what Jasmine did and kind of just like follow the rules of what everybody told you to do, you would probably end up being very like an emotional eater, because you're kind of closing off your feelings and you're not really being open to that. So you might resonate with that, with the emotional eater in you. You would probably get Jasmine if you took the quiz. And then we have Ariel, who's known for her curiosity, who believes like the grass is always greener. And I think it's a beautiful thing to try new things. But sometimes the avid yo-yo dieter, they learn about what superfood it is. So they're doing this, and then they're doing this, and then they're trying this, and they're doing this. And they're never really like grounding themselves and kind of figuring out like, okay, like this works, but what works for me, and how can I make it fun and exciting without like constantly jumping from A to Z and never really getting anywhere, right? So those are the 4 Disney princesses that I kind of created, and their archetypes. And so if you want to know which one you eat like, you would go to tipswithtoni.com, take the quiz, and you'll obviously also get steps on kind of how to change that characteristic instead of like from it harming you or just, discouraging you, but more so to help you to make progress.
I love it. So before you worked on all of this and drew all these parallels and became a dietitian, which one do you think you were?
Definitely Cinderella.
Yeah.
Definitely Cinderella. Yeah, hands down. If you read my book, you'll learn. I mean, I think I had tendencies of Jasmine at one point. But 100% Cinderella. Because at one point I really restricted my eating habits.
Okay.
Yeah, you can read more about it in my book, but I got like hyper obsessed with quote unquote healthy eating. It became very disordered, and it was very rigid, and I just felt, and I was like chasing the number on the scale, and then 5 pounds turned into 5 more pounds, which turned into 5 more pounds, and I just kept like making things harder for myself and moving the goalpost. And I think Cinderella, like that component of her keeps like hoping like it's going to be better then, it'll be better when, but it's learning how to, one thing Cinderella did very well is like, despite her ridiculous circumstances of being treated like a slave, she had this beautiful spirit and beautiful attitude about her. And I think that's important to know, that regardless of your circumstances, if you choose to see it from this place of gratitude, then you might actually start to find a way out.
That's awesome. Yeah. It's like the characteristics aren't necessarily bad. It's just like maybe they're channeled in a non-productive path.
100%.
That's really cool. I'm definitely going to have to go take my test and see which Disney princess I eat like.
I feel like I'd be curious too, because I think it's a little bit harder if you have a healthy relationship with food. Unfortunately, I didn't put a character in there. It's kind of like to warn you for when you're feeling off.
Gotcha.
So I would almost like answer it when like things are like, you're maybe from an older version of you.
I was going to say my 21-year-old self.
I don't know who it would. Yeah, I don't know. Honestly, I should take it now as like kind of like this healed part of me. I'm curious what it would show up for me.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah, maybe like I said, I'll do it from like my 20 something self and see what pops up. I love that though.
Yeah.
So tell me, this Once Upon a Diet method, you have some specific questions that you ask people to help them break out of the diet cycle. And you reference this at the beginning, like sometimes we just need to ask the right questions to grow our relationship with food. So what are 3 questions people should ask themselves if they want to break out of that diet cycle?
Yeah. So the first one is, I kind of referenced it a little bit before. It's like, will this last past the honeymoon phase? So kind of sharing how like there's nothing wrong with a short-term fling, but if you want something that's, marriage material long-term, ask yourself, can I see myself doing this for, the next 6 months to a year or longer, right? We mentioned before, things can change in seasons, but if you really want something long-term, like is this going to last past the honeymoon phase? So that's question number 1. Question number 2, we also kind of spoke about a little bit earlier, which is, do I even like this? Like, if you don't like it anymore, it's okay to shift it and to change it. Maybe you don't need to like break up with it completely, but maybe you need to have that conversation, whether it be with yourself or your partner or a loved one, or maybe you just need to make some adaptations, or maybe really it's not for you, and that's okay. You get to change, you get to choose, right? So the first question is kind of what I want people to ask themselves before they try something new. Do I even like this? Is the question I want you to ask yourself when you're in the middle of trying it or doing it, or with a partner, whatever it is. And then the last question is the most important question, which is kind of after, or that in between moment, which is, what lessons did I learn from this? If you don't ask yourself that question, then you will stay stuck in that cycle. So really kind of ask yourself, like, would you do it again? And there's more about it in my book. So, I hate to be that person, but if you go to if you go to Amazon,
you should be that person. You wrote a book. It's amazing.
It's like, no, because like I'm really giving out a lot of what's in there because I want to help as much as I can. But I think it's also really helpful if you kind of have it. And I even on my on my website too, if you go to tipswithtoni.com/onceuponadiet, you can download all of the different PDFs that I speak about in the book. So it's really helpful material. But like a couple questions even within that, like what lessons did I learn from this? It's like, you know, if you were to do it again, whether it be the diet or to date that person, like what would have to change for you to be happy and healthy?
Mm-hmm.
You know, what are your non-negotiables? You know, I think establishing that, getting a little bit more clear now, knowing, you know, the certain information, you know, is that okay for you? Is it not okay? Like, you know, really just, you know, assessing, and asking yourself what's worth it and what's not.
I love that, because there's no pass fail. And I know you know this, but like this is something I know I have to say on repeat to the women I work with, is like,
I just posted about this yesterday.
I
literally said, repeat after me. Failure is feedback. And I put failure in quotes because you're never failing.
Failure.
You don't ever fail. There's literally there's no such thing as failing, because there's always a lesson in it. There's always a lesson in it. I guess the only way you can quote unquote fail is if you choose to ignore the lesson.
Yeah,
and just
right.
repeat. Yeah, like
just that
I guess
definition of insanity of doing it over and over, which a lot of us do. And I think, you know, for you and I, because we're immersed in this world, and I always say, like, it's such a privilege to be a dietitian because I get to spend my days studying food. So, you know, like, it's almost unfair. I was able to heal my relationship with food because of the time I've spent, you know,
and spent helping other people.
Yes. Yeah.
It really definitely
it changes everything.
It changes everything, because a lot of the lessons that you were probably giving to clients, it's like a reminder for you of, you know, what you needed to do to get you to where you're at. And it's a constant reminder.
Funny is you say that about, like, you paralleled a lot of like what you were seeing in women with food to your dating life. Like, I see that in other parallels too. Like, I parallel, like, oh my gosh, I see my client struggling with this. That reminds me of me struggling with the stuff I'm struggling with in motherhood, like being a mama, or even just podcasting. So I think there are so many parallels we can draw. But like, I know in the food department, it's definitely easy for you and I to not jump on the pass fail train. But it's a good reminder to know that, like, hey, if we could take this concept of letting go of, like, quote, failure and just learning, it's not great for only just food, but it's great for everything in life. Like you said, in dating world, I know I'm having to learn that hard, and being a mama and raising boys, it's like every day feels like a pass fail sometimes, but I have to say those things to myself. Like, okay, there is no pass fail. Like, I can learn from every step of the way.
100%. And I can tell you're already doing a fabulous job with your children.
Oh, thank you.
I don't even know you. Like, we barely know each other, but like, I can tell you right now, you probably are not even close to failing in the sense that you think you are.
You're so sweet. Well, thank you. I hear that. I receive it. I appreciate it. You know, but it is those things, like, we all struggle somewhere in different areas. And like, you know, at the food piece, though, for a lot of women is where I think they get tripped up. And so, yeah, we're on the same page with that pass fail thing. Okay, so this Once Upon a Diet method, there's obviously the book, which where can people find the book and where can they buy it?
Yeah, so it's on Amazon. You can get the paperback version, you can listen to the audio, and you can also download the ebook.
All right, well, we'll make sure all those links are in the show notes, but I so appreciate your approach. I'm so glad you finally found the shoe that fits. You started acting more like Goldilocks, because you're definitely helping so many out there.
Thank you so much.
Thank you so much for joining me today. I hope it strengthened your food journey and empowered you to live boldly in your body. Real quick, sister, before you go, if you liked today's episode, the best way you can thank me is head on over to iTunes, Fuel Her Awesome Podcast, leave a review and subscribe. Then take a screenshot and share it on your social media. Don't forget to tag me at JessBrownRD. And if you're looking for more resources, be sure to check out my website, JessBrownRD.com. I've got info on my e-course, Fuel Her Awesome Food Foundations, my 10-step ebook on how to beat body bullying, and so much more. I cannot wait to chat with you babes again. Until next time, cheers and happy eating.